is enough of a reason to quit. I want to rot. I want to rot. I will lay in my bed for so long that the sheets and my skin like fuse into one. Yeah. Arguably the best thing about working out every day though is getting to say that you work out every day and then feeling better than everyone else. And that's it. I did experiment with various times to go to the little tiny Trinity gym, and I found that no matter what, it would be packed. All of my beautiful and lovely friends have left me this term to go on Erasmus, so I'm currently bearing the status of what some may call a loser. And because of this, I found myself walking to the gym on Friday night at 7 p.m. I thought to myself, this is perfect because who else would be lame enough to lift weights on the last Friday before term? Let me tell you who was in the gym on Friday night at 7 p.m. Every single skinny but muscular nerd at Trinity. Just as far as the eye could see, really weird sleeper bills. Like picture loads of short and stinky Jacob Elordies, except they all have Fortnite addictions and look nothing like it. Is this what it takes? Like, is this what it takes to feel better than everyone else? Like, what other things could I do with my time to chase this inflation of ego? Study PPES, speak in chamber, have people do lines off my tits in Lost Lane, develop a gambling addiction? She knows what I'm talking about. But why don't I quit while I'm ahead and let our amazing speakers take over? And also, before I forget, there will be afters at the one bar tonight, so get your glass of wine and get out of here. Thank you.
Welcome everyone to the University Philosophical Society in conjunction with the Comedy Society. The motion that's done for the House tonight is this House would rise and grind. Speeches are a maximum of 7 minutes in length. After the first minute you'll hear a bell, which signifies that anyone in the debate can ask points of information, and at the 6th minute you'll again hear a bell, which means that you dare do that. At 7 minutes you'll hear a double bell, which means you should start shutting the fuck up, and then at 7:15 Ben will just continually ring it until you're drowned out by its annoying pitch. With that, we do encourage general audience participation in our debates, so if you hear something you like tonight, you can check you're here, and if you hear something you don't like, you can check shame. We do still though prioritise respect during our debates, and as a result, if anyone has any concerns about what was said tonight, our senior member of council Max, go ahead there is, is contactable via smc at TCD Phil. Max will also soon be contactable via a complaints form in our link tree soon to go up, which will also have a voice option for those seeking it. And alternatively, I'm contactable at present via present at TCD Phil. With that, I would like to start to introduce the teams. On first proposition, representing the 3 Phil speakers, we have firstly David Kelly. David is currently on books, a former theoretical physics and also former chemistry student. As it stands, he's going to do maths next year. Frankly, who knows? He also happens to be the debates convener here at the Phil. Speaking second, we have Phil Graham, a first-year English student and reigning runner-up of the Phil Maiden's Wildcard competition. He also went to Blackrock. I thought I'd just mention that now. Speaking third, we have Matilda Prue, a first-year history student and the current reigning champion of Phil Maidens. Apparently, she likes to literally just bite people when on a night out, I'm told. So maybe it would be wise to keep the wine away from her. On the opposition bench, we have from Comedy Stock, firstly, Aidan Balfe, a postgraduate studying psychoanalysis. He's meant to be here to represent Comedy Stock, but frankly, I think he's probably here for the specimens that are the students that have been happy. Secondly, we have Miles Greenway, an undergraduate history and English student here from Toronto. Let's see if he can be unapologetically funny tonight. I'm sorry, that's the worst joke I've ever made. Last but not least, we have Meg Sullivan, a postgraduate student in business entrepreneurship and innovation with an undergraduate in comedy writing and performance. Like Matilda, she's also American, so we'll be ending on a double bill with freedom. With that, I'd like to call on David to open tonight's debate. You're here.
Mom! Stocks, am I right? Look, enough of this funny business, alright? We have comedy stock here, I don't have to do this as much as I do any other time we're in the chamber. I think it's quite simple, alright? Right now, there's a problem in the modern society. A problem where people feel like they don't have control over themselves. A problem where people feel like they don't have control on a day-to-day basis what they're doing in their life. And rising ground is a way to solve this. I'd like to start with a little quote from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you've read it, great book, etc., but it goes something like this. There's 3 stages of evolution of every galactic civilization. The why, max it up. The how, the why, and the where. The how is, how can I eat? How can I go from one place to the next? How do I kill this line, put that line in my head? The why is, why do I eat? Why do I eat this asparagus? Why do I do the next step? The where is, where do I go for lunch? The problem is that right now, people as a whole feel like they are in the where stage, but we really were built for the how stage. This is what we're meant to do on a day-to-day basis. Rising and grinding is a way for someone to commit themselves to something and do it on a day-to-day basis and commit themselves to action. I want to just firstly, get rid of the obvious, implications of the word rise and grind. I'm not going to go here and say and connect to the Joe Rogans or the Andrew Tates, Ben Shapiro's of the world. Because when people interpret messages, it's all to do with who they are as people. It's to do with what knowledge they have and what their wants and desires are in the first place. No matter what Joe Rogan heard on the radio, or seen that day, or what Andrew Tate heard or did in his life, they're probably going to be, cunts regardless, I think, for myself personally, I think I'll do the classic example, something really close to my heart, the simple line, Kyle Lowry has a massive dump truck. Now, you guys probably don't know what that means, but to me it's quite close to my heart, because 2 years ago I was on Tinder. I would end the speech there, but there's more to the story. I was there, and I was talking to this fella. It wasn't really, that amazing. He thought I was actually 5'1". My bio said it. He said, "Small boy, I like that." I hope 6'1" isn't too tall for you. But anyway, that got to Snapchat somehow. I'm still surprised with myself about it. And we were there texting back and forth, and the big question came up. The massive question of every Tinder thing. He goes, "Are you more like a cock or like an ass guy?" And as he says this, he sends a video of Kyle Lowry with his dump truck, which is shooting. The entire thing is just staring at it. Most people, go on that date. No, don't go on that date. I did. Didn't end well. Story for another day. Let's just say he said his dad had cancer and he guilt-tripped me to go. Anyway, what's that supposed to mean? To understand that you can separate it from the message. I think there's 2 ways which it solves this problem in modern society. It helps with overthinking, and it helps people tune themselves to what they're going to do in their life. It helps with overthinking, firstly, because a lot of times people go down these spirals. The spiral of think, consume some content, and then find another problem. It looks like someone would be like, why does no girl like me? And they look it up online and go, okay, it's because I'm skinny, I'm not good enough, so they go to the gym, as Ellie was saying. And they get big, they get stronger, and then they find out no one likes them, and they think again and go, okay, maybe our personality, who knows? This happens to people's life decisions as well. People every single day are thinking, okay, what do I want to do in my life? As Jack said at the start, I've switched career a few times and know myself. And because the amount of possibilities that are out there on the internet or in public, people constantly trying to find a new one to go to. And there's hundreds and thousands of experiences on each and every life path. So you can't make a decision on which one to do or which one to go on. Because there's no authority anymore on what thing to do with your life. This means you have to take some leap of faith to escape this trap. You have to take some leap of faith to decide, okay, I'm going to do this with my own life, even if it's not great, even if it's not perfect, even if it doesn't lead up to a massive end goal. The reason why rising and grinding helps us is because it's a simple way for you to commit to yourself and commit to some action goal and say every single day I'm going to do these small steps to get there. It takes you out of this future mindset into the now, into the present, makes it better overall. Secondly, I tuning yourself. It's a classic, yummy mummy example. If you don't know what yummy mummy is, it's Southside Dublin, blonde hair, classic person in a Range Rover. It's dry January, as it is right now for these people, and they do this every single year. They collect the kids from school, they come back home, and it's like they sit down and go, oh, I'd love a little cop soft right now. In their head, they go, okay, shit. They go to the wine cellar, taking all the aroma around them, pick out their favourite bottle, 30 years age, and look at the calories and go, no, sorry, can't have that. Put it back, take a Pinot Grigio, why less calories, and just drink that instead. But these people aren't happy with these decisions they make. Because they're negotiating with themselves as they do it. They're saying, look, it's only one day out of the month, it's only one time out of the pub. The whole reason why Rise and Grind helped this is because it means you accept and commit to saying, look, I know from time to time we'll have to come up and decide between some comfort or between some hard thing or some hard action I'll have to do in my own life. This hard action or hard thing wasn't something people have to do like thousands or 20,000. I don't know, the Neolithic people, cavemen had to do before, No caveman had to wake up and decide between chilling in the grass or going out to kill something, because they had to survive. Now they don't have the problems, and now that's why it is a problem now. I think these two things overall mean that people have a better quality of life for a few reasons. Firstly, on clarity. People know on a day-to-day basis what to commit to and what things to do on that day, which means that they have less time to worry about the things that are happening in the world. Things like, global warming, Palestine, all that bad stuff. And they can set it to some part to see, I saw your little face there. Right? People can still think these are bad things, but you don't have to think about them all the time. If you focus on some small action, it helps with doing that overall. Also gives us more control over that. If you start doing things on a day-to-day basis to help yourself, like, go to the gym or do studying and do something else than go on TikTok, cringe. Go on TikTok, do something like that. It just gives you more sense of control over your own life. The reason why it's uniquely, Rise and Grinding that gets us here is because all the alternatives are vague and unactionable. They're vague because they don't tell you what to do. If someone tells you, be yourself, live up to your potential, do your passion, it's hard to know what steps to get there. It's also hard to do any actions upon those things. Rise and Grind is a unique way for you to make that leap of faith and do those actions every single day. David out.
Mahatma Gandhi once said, "Hustle up, hustle down, and get these bricks out." But not too early, mind. Late morning or even early afternoon is fine by me, just as long as everyone is well rested and feeling their best. End quote. And that's real, you can look it up. I take inspiration from Gandhi in addressing this motion. For you see, I, like him, fight oppression in all its forms. I also occasionally wear sandals. And behind the seemingly innocuous motion that this house would rise and grind lies a troubling, prejudicial, and oppressive philosophy that condemns half the world to a life of subjugation under the tyrannical yoke of early risers. Indeed, late risers like myself have throughout history been doubted and maligned, castigated and branded as lazy and unproductive. See, people think I'm lazy because I like to stay in bed until 10. But that's got nothing to do with it. I'm just lazy. First it was my mother. Come on, Aidan, don't waste all day in bed. Then it was my teachers. Late again, Aidan. I'm afraid this will go on your report card. And then even my ex-girlfriend. Please stop falling asleep drunk on my doorstep. I need to go to work and you don't live here anymore. So yes, I have a personal investment in this debate, but I will also be marshalling evidence from science, philosophy, and religious teaching to convince you to oppose the motion. However, before I get to the substance of my argument, there is an elephant in the room I must address. This house would rise and grind. I know what the committee was thinking. Scheduling a debate with the Comedy Society on a motion so laden with innuendo. These comedians won't be able to resist the opportunity to pepper their speeches with smutty double entendre and crude humour. They'll be gagging for it. You thought we'd be at it all night, romping around the topic like wild cowboys, or cowgirls, or cow people. Well, I'm afraid you won't get a leg up on us that easily. We have every intention to rise to the occasion and our surroundings. I mean, look at the beautiful building we're in and the lovely formal attire on display. I think I've even seen a couple of pearl necklaces in the audience. No, while any Tom, Dick, or Harry could take such a childish approach, we will put our energy into the thrust of our arguments, exploring the length, breadth, and girth of this topic. Like a group of private school rugby boys, we will come together. We will come together with vigour and spunk to elucidate our position. I will say, however, if any of us were going to include such vulgar innuendo, I'm sure we'd find a way to slip it in gently, and it would only last a minute. Now let's stop beating around the bush and get down to it. First we turn to science. In his seminal work, Why We Sleep, neuroscientist Matthew Walker explains that each of us has a genetically determined chronotype. Morning larks and night owls are scientifically grounded phenomena, with about 30% of the world's population having a built-in, unchangeable propensity to go to bed and wake up later. A friend of mine once remarked on my preference for waking up late and said I must be a night owl. I said, who? But as the professor goes on to outline, the world has been built for the 40% of the population who are early risers, from business to leisure to education. To take just one example of the positive effects of countering this societal bias, American schools that moved their start times back by 1 hour saw a 156-point increase in average SAT scores. I don't know what that means exactly, but it sounds good. When a school district in Wyoming pushed its start time back by 1.5 hours, there was a 70% reduction in traffic accidents in 16 to 18-year-olds. However, an unfortunate byproduct of American children arriving safely to school was that they were then more likely to be shot. Now, it's all very good relying on the research of world-leading neuroscientists. I thought I would conduct an experiment of my own. I decided to test the hypothesis of the adjacent aphorism to rise and grind, that of the early bird catches the worm. In my front garden, I set up 2 buckets. Each full of 100 worms. Affixed with electronic lids controlled by timers, one open for an hour in the morning, one for an hour in the afternoon. I know what it's thinking. What a watertight experiment. With no shortcomings at all, and 0 chance of error. The results would definitely stand up in a debate. I know, and I'm not even a STEM student. In the evening, I went to check which bucket was emptier. And what did I find? That's right, my neighbour Geraldine. With a concerned look, she said, "Hi Aidan, I just wanted to check if everything was okay. You know, if you ever need to chat to anyone." And I said, "Sorry Geraldine, can I stop you there? What time do you normally wake up?" She said, "Oh, about 9 or 9:30 most days." And I said, "I knew it. That kind of compassion and concern for others is a classic hallmark of a late riser." Jesus, I've got more to say. But I will, I guess, finish with another quote. This time from Andrew Tate. He said, and I quote, "Rising and grinding is the central tenet of my philosophy and approach to life. The last year has been great for me, it's true, but my only regret is that I didn't rise earlier or grind harder. That way I could have trafficked more people." But I'm so pleased that my views can be represented at the prestigious Philosophical Society of Trinity College, and I've entrusted David, Fiona and Matilda as my official spokespeople. More than that, my spiritual heirs. End quote. And that's real, you can look it up. So I think it's a stark but simple choice in front of you tonight. If you want to be on the side of Gandhi, science, Aristotle, who I didn't get to, my neighbour Geraldine, Jesus and the Buddha, who I didn't get to, but they're there, trust me, I encourage you to stand against oppression and reject this motion. Thank you very much.
On a more serious note, a shadow has descended over Trinity. I don't mean to play from the dictator's handbook when I tell you that, my dear friends, my dear beloved friends, and Jack, the time has come to defeat the enemy within. There are people all over campus, and I want you to look around, that don't want to watch you grind at the things you care about. They don't want to watch you grinding in your workplace. They don't want to watch you grinding in the lecture halls. And they don't want to watch you grinding in your family life. No. These people that I referred to are in this very building. The kind of people that will try to oppose you in every courageous step you take in life. And what's more, you know who they are. The naysayers, the put-downers, the social democrats, the grudgers, the parasites, the hist. They will try to oppose your goals, and tonight in this chamber, in this citadel of grinders, they will try to oppose this very motion. Now, why does the enemy within try to stop you in your path, you may well wonder. To put it simply, the brightest lights cast the longest shadows. Yes. But make no mistake, it is not the darkness that these people fear, it is being alone in the darkness that they fear. Like drowning men, they want you there with them. Because some people in this world just want to watch the world dim. But dear friends, do not fear the dimmers of this world. In my last workplace, I faced many of these naysayers. And I'm ashamed to say I listened to them. Yeah. They got to me. For years they told me I wasn't a winner. For years they told me I'd already lost. Go home, they said. And one day I did. I was distraught. I went to my mum and I said, Mum, no one believes in me. And she just looked at me, and it was a moment I'll never forget. She told me, son, the more you put into life, the more you will get out of it. And let me tell you, people, I took that right to heart. I told myself I will never again give up on what I believed in. And the next day, I walked right back into that casino. Right past everyone who didn't believe in me. And I put my life savings on black. Irrelevant. Now, standing in this podium before all you beautiful people, I feel so far from my humble beginnings in my hometown. You might have heard of it, South County Dublin. And by the bang of Links African here, I can tell I'm not alone. Well, in the South, we live and we die by 3 words, 3 founding principles of our culture and heritage. Lads. And yeah, people laugh at that because they don't understand what we mean. Lads means never giving up. Lads means never taking no for an answer. And lads means being the person, the man or woman you were born to be. And I want everyone in this room to turn to the person beside you. Look into their eyes. Go. Hold them there. Do you feel that tension? That's the tension of 2 people with the burning desire to grind. That's right. And all for what, you might ask, why do we put in all that elbow grease alongside our brothers and sisters in chasing our goals? Why do we bother rather than grease up and sunbathe in Ibiza like a bold Brexiteer or a UCD student? Well, let me answer that for you, Jack. It's because we who grind recognize in ourselves a spark of greatness waiting to be unleashed. But I have a secret. I see that spark all around. I see it in seemingly soulless best students. I see it in dejected philosophy majors. And yes, Jack, I see the youth. And I see it in every man and woman in this room. Grinding is our creed, and shame on those that would have us believe otherwise. But my brothers and sisters, they are not the true enemy. They know not what they do. The true enemy waits outside the walls of this chamber. They are in this very building, and the historical society is laughing at us. Shame! you leave with your shoulders back, eyes fearlessly forward, and you tell them that you are grinding towards the person you were born to be, and neither hell nor hiss will stop you. Thank you very much.
Statistics for his speech. I just want to say off the bat, I did not. Okay, the proposition that this house would rise and grind is perhaps best answered by Ireland's own bard, Oscar Wilde, who is of course renowned around the world for being history's first catty gay man. Before him, they were actually all rather polite. I don't know if you knew that. But the culture is better for it, I think. And as a matter of fact, actually, he coined the phrase, "Oh, honey, those shoes with that top." And he also did that little wrist thing that they do when they sass you. He invented that as well. What I'm trying to say is there's a direct lineage from Oscar Wilde to RuPaul, and we owe the man an unfathomable cultural debt. And I say that with no sarcasm. Anyway, the great gay Irish icon Oscar Wilde once said, and I quote, "Only dull people are brilliant at breakfast." And when you consider the class of people who are associated with the phrase rise and grind, the habitual users, if you will, they are a very dull bunch. As David called them, cunts. It's not as charming in my accent, I find. It's a little okay, there are two immediate associations I make with the mantra, and who are associated with, hold on, let me see, okay. And I don't think it's presumptuous to say most people also think of them, and they are Instagram influencers and business majors, and those are two groups of people that anyone with any degree of sense would avoid like the plague. I will first speak to the Instagram influencers, for their social sins are much more egregious than the latter, who simply want to work for their father's tech company to manage the effort to produce computer chips for Raytheon missiles, or whatever it is those fine 1%er folks are up to. Anyway. Yes, the influencer class. The niche micro-celebrities with all the ego of a Kanye West, except they can't even say they made My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. You have to love them for how hateable they are, you know? Like the modern-day snake oil salesmen peddling outdated forms of masculinity and tips on how to avoid cancer by directly exposing your anus to sunlight. Both of which are available as 25-page ebooks for the reasonable price of $17.99. The Pied Pipers of a horde of rat-faced 12-year-olds that have been cycling testosterone daily since they were 4, and were given an iPad with internet access by a neglectful mother to distract their beloved offspring as they try to cheat on their husbands. A mighty legion of jacked, misogynistic children with back knees so severe, it is like the entirety of Moby Dick is written in Braille on their shoulders. I would avoid rising and grinding if for no other reason than to not be associated with these so-called people. And, all right. Next, we have the business majors. What is there to be said about these delightfully boring semi-morons that hasn't been said in a cheerfully written post-breakup Instagram story? The business major who defines work-life balance as only doing cocaine after lectures. Idolizing Kendall Roy, Henry Ford, and Al Pacino in Scarface, all three of which they have taped to their dorm room walls. Posters as telling of doom to their unfortunate hookup partners who look on these three tasteless pictures with the same dread as the victims of serial killers who see blood spatter on the wall of the nice bespectacled gentleman who offered to give them a lift one cold February night. Their hobbies include, and are limited to, scrolling the stock market app while listening to Drake. The app that comes with the iOS of the iPhone 15 their father got for them for getting a C+ in Intro to Economics. If the NASDAQ is up, they put on God's plan. Is this on? When it's down, they're listening to In My Feelings with their head in their hands. In between this exciting coffee for the CEO of a Fortune 500 company who was their dad's buddy in college. You guys used to uni, I guess would be the term? Anyway, as a social, okay. Finally, we come to my last example, the synthesis of the manosphere influencer and the business major. I speak, of course, of Mark Wahlberg. A social media icon, the 52-year-old star of great hallmarks of cinema such as Ted and Ted 2. He is the proud owner/partner of Flecha Azul Tequila, Wahlburgers, performance-inspired nutrition, Unrealistic Ideas Productions, Mark Wahlberg Chevrolet. I swear to Christ that is real. I like to imagine they just sell like Chevy Aveos with like Mark Wahlberg's head just on like the hood of the car or whatever. It's huge. And F45 training, P448, and the Christian prayer app, Hallow. All of which are listed proudly in his Instagram bio. One of his latest Instagram posts reads thus, and given the lack of AV equipment, I will poorly substitute his majestic voice for my own. Okay. Prayer hands emoji, all caps. Happy Sunday, prayer hands emoji. Say prayed up. No idea what that means really. It seems kind of sacrilegious if I'm being honest. Anyway, prayer hands emoji again. At Hallow app, prayer hands emoji, heart emoji, prayer hands emoji, hashtag Hallow Barbie. What a rough point to get the bell. This was posted at 4:30 a.m. Eastern Pacific. In the video, he is surrounded by the white glow of a nation dawn, looking as angelic as his beloved Jesus Christ. We see here a textbook example of rising and grinding and celebrity-induced delusion. Okay, I'm sure we've all seen his infamous schedule, so I won't get too into it, but to refresh your memories, his schedule involved a disastrously early wake-up to make sure he has time to spend a whole 2 hours with his children. And his brothers, Donnie Wahlberg, Paul Wahlberg, Jim Wahlberg, and Scott Wahlberg, whom he nurses from his teat with a wholesome breast milk loaded with nutrients and whey protein. He has also set aside an hour and a half for showering, which as a former teenage boy, I deeply empathize with the necessity of a long shower to hide your sin from the all-seeing Lord. He also plays golf for a half hour a day. Somehow through sheer superhuman tyranny of will, he plays a full 18 holes in 30 minutes. That's 1.67 minutes per hole, giving those hardened porn professionals a run for their money. In conclusion, we would certainly not rise and grind if for no other reason than to avoid the dregs of humanity. I wrote all this morning in a cafe in public, hungover and bleary-eyed. I was frantically Googling Mark Wahlberg on my laptop like a psychopath and shaking from a caffeine overdose. Anyway, in this state I delivered to you. Hopefully it was convincing. Thanks very much. What do I do?
Of 2023 film natives.
than the accumulation of wealth or power. It is the tenacity of the human spirit, an answer to the terrifying question, what next?
Wait a minute, Marie.
Yes,
Did you know women were the original timekeepers?
in the film? You know, oh, sorry.
Before the Gregorian calendar, there were no days, just cycles.
Whoa. We're getting to the end, wow, you know. You were promised a real bill of freedom in my speech, and I really believe in my Second Amendment right to defense. You know, there's a great deal that I have to defend myself against today, because you've all sat there. Well, the jackals on this side of the house have fed you drivel, have enabled your laziness, have encouraged your sloth, and turned you against my people, those who would guide you towards the light, those of us who would have you rise and grind. But I would like to let you in on a little secret about the so-called comedy sock. In this cuck or be cucked world, they do not hold the power. You are the cucker, and they the cucky. And in fact, as much as they would like to tell you that they have rolled out of bed and embraced mediocrity, they have spent hours of their precious time on earth, they've clearly lost sleep, thinking about this exact moment. And you know what brought them here? Every single person at this table has risen so early and ground so hard just for the chance to make you all laugh. And they want you so bad. They want you to like them. They want you to laugh at them. They have ground so hard for you. So what does it mean for them to rise and grind? And how can you emulate the success that every person at this table has found today? You know, I asked Jack Palmer how I could fill time in this speech. And he told me that it's always impactful to include some poetry in a chamber speech. So I'd like to take a moment to read to you a piece of wisdom from Twitter user and philosopher @come_did. I remember being severely depressed and thinking the world is a worse place with me in it. And then I stopped being depressed. And I started making the world a worse place. For a full Chicago Tribune citation, please see me after the debate so that I know who's an insufferable nerd. But this tweet, it speaks to the spirit of the grind set, the indomitable nature of looking the challenge in the eye, staring up at that which has kept you down, deciding that you are worse. You are in the world. This is a terrible, terrible thing at every turn. The haters, your parents, the government, your teachers, every person I've ever slept with will try to cuck you. But when you grind, and when you grind, you take control. When your life is bad, grinders say, it is up to you to make it worse. Thank you. Thank you, Fluff. The Philosophical Society. For Jack for having us. On a personal note, this is a great honor to speak in such a historic building and room. And as the Ents chair for DU Comedy Society, I can tell this is an event. David mentioned we interpret words by who we are as people. So I would like to affirm the working definitions of the proposition. Would we rise and grind? No. Should we? No. We should go forage mode and kick the Industrial Revolution to the bin. But alas, I must accept that this is the world that we're living in. Mr. Balfe said the world was built for early risers. And the world as we know it is in dire need of balance. Dare I say, a work-life balance. Rise and grind, how about heart and mind? Market research conducted by a graduate student at Ireland's top business school found an astounding 89% of attendees at a 9 a.m. lecture would prefer to stay in bed. The remaining 11 asleep were asleep at their desks. Leo da Vinci, Pabst Picasso, even Benji Frank did not keep regular sleep schedules. Sir Elton John, known for his incredible live performances and hailed by many as a rock god, has never, ever started a show before lunchtime. What does that tell you? Actually, Sir Elton John's a pretty good example of work-life balance. He's known for his incredible community efforts via his AIDS Foundation, raising tens of millions of dollars to help solve the AIDS crisis, as well as being a maverick in fashion, the unofficial face of the often underrepresented exotic bird. By contrast, Mozart woke up early in the morning every day to practice and write music under what in any other labor sector would be widely considered indentured servitude. And guess what happened to him? Dead. Elton John? Rich. A friend of mine, Cassie, is a huge Elton John fan. She bought tickets in the gods for a concert of his, which she attended with her recently widowed mother. They got chatting with the security guard while waiting in queue for the loo. That's so fun. Queue for the loo. After learning their story, he offered them front row tickets to the performance that night. As it turns out, Elton John buys the front row of his concerts with the intention of upgrading the seats of the poor people. Sorry. The financially disabled. Sorry. People living in fiscally unappealing circumstances. His fans. This, sacrificing potential income at your own concert, is not the move of a rising grinder. This is the move of a heart and minder. Sir Elton John buys tickets to the front row of these concerts not because he wants to show off that he has the enormous amount of money I assume it would take to do so, but because he donates those tickets to deserving fans from the yucky bad proceeds. And that was a 100% true story, by the way. Well, she wasn't recently widowed. They actually don't know who the father is. It could be one of two different guys. But, like, what's my friend supposed to do? Wake up every morning, taking DNA tests day after day, chasing down the elusive sperm supplier? What sort of life is that? No. Much better to undergo a solitary DNA test, dispatch into the ethereal realms of the cloud, and cross one's fingers that another illegitimate child of this seed guy engages in the same peculiar ritual. Thereupon, an electric note arrives. Bing! You've got mail. Courtesy of the establishment to which they surrendered the portion of their genetic assets, and how exciting. They immediately look each other up online, add each other on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, SoundCloud, exchange a few messages. Oh, how thrilling! A half-sibling! Absolutely delighted to connect. We absolutely must meet for coffee. Indeed, we must. How about Friday? No, the other Friday, next Friday, Saturday after that. Alas, they never quite managed to link for an in-person encounter, opting instead to sporadically give each other likes on each other's holiday photographs for the remainder of their days. And that, my dear ones, is balance. Yes, the world is made for early risers, but further, the world was built for risers. Simply put, built to suit risers, to reward risers, to exclusively serve the risers. This world that is falling apart around us, where the push for progress has come at a cost of an entire species of plants, animals and plants, I said it, and they're gone, frankly. The global population is made up of less than, it is 49% risers, okay? Entire lineages of families have been wiped clear off the planet, a world so deprived of hope for its future. Children in America as young as 8 years old are experiencing existential dread so severe it leads them to believe that death by their own hands is an option. And that is the world of the rise and grind, the world that we're living in now. I don't stand before you to insinuate we should all fall out from society, quit our jobs, become idle bums, but we are in dire need of balance. You do not need to wake up at dawn to contribute to your communities, to be seen as valid. This world, built for the risers, is killing us. And guess fucking what? You can absolutely grind without rising. Trust me. I'm a lesbian. Also, a lot of work can be done lying down on your back using your laptop. Reject this motion. This house would not rise and grind. I did what I could.
Before we'll go in next door, get wine, and then go on to the Lombard, we first call a vote. So I'm going to say in a second, all those in favor of the motion say aye, shout as loud as possible, and those in favor against the motion, you can say nay, it's not going to be too loud or anything, like, don't have to promise. But with that then, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.